Eli Grant sat in the transport shuttle, staring out at the endless stars. This was his first time leaving Earth, and he still wasn't sure he was excited or just nervous. His hands stayed tight on the straps of his seat as the alien pilot announced their arrival at the Academy of Unified Species. The Academy was in orbit around a quiet planet. It looked like a bright ring of silver floating in space. It was built by many species, and students from all over the galaxy came to study. There, Eli had won a scholarship. He had passed the tests and the interviews. Now he was the first human ever accepted into the program. When the shuttle docked, he followed the other new students down the ramp. Most of them were taller than him, with strange skin, glowing eyes, or many arms. Eli tried to smile, but most of the other students stepped back when he came near. They whispered in languages he didn't understand. A guide bot rode up to him. "Human student Eli Grant, follow me." To orientation. Eli followed the bot through clean halls with glass walls. He could see students practicing combat, learning languages, and flying simulators. Every room was high-tech and beautiful. Yet everywhere he went, eyes followed him, some curious, some worried. In the orientation room, a voice greeted the new students. "Welcome to the Academy. You are the best of your worlds. Here you will grow, learn, and connect with others." Eli stood quietly at the back. A few students glanced at him. One, a thin alien with soft purple scales, leaned toward another. "That's the human, isn't it? From Earth." "Yes," the other whispered. "They call that world the Doomworld." Eli pretended not to hear. He didn't understand. Earth wasn't a perfect place. Sure, but Doom. That seemed harsh. After the speech, they were taken to their rooms. Eli shared a suite with three others. One was a tall insectoid named Cheeve, who clicked his mandibles often. The second was a soft-looking being who went by Loma. The third was a lizard-like alien called Drex. None of them said much at first. Eli set up his side of the room. He pinned up a small Earth flag, a photo of his dog, and some books. When he turned, Drex was staring at the flag. "That's the Doomworld flag," Drex said. "It's Earth," Eli replied. "It's my home." Loma tilted their head. "Do all humans fight as children? I read that your species has mock battles at age 6. Eli blinked. "You mean sports? Like wrestling? Or dodgeball?" "Yes, it looked very painful," Cheeve clicked. "And your planet is called Class 5 Hazard in our charts. Toxic animals, wild weather. Many species there are deadly." "It's not that bad," Eli said, a little uncomfortable. "We just adapt." The others nodded but stayed quiet. Eli sighed and sat on his bed. He knew things might be strange, but he didn't expect this kind of fear. Later that day, they were taken to their first training. It was a general survival simulation. The instructor, a stern-looking bird-like alien, explained the rules. You will be placed in a mock danger zone. The goal is to work as a team, stay calm, and make it to the checkpoint. Eli was placed in a team with his 3 roommates. The simulation began. The terrain changed to a rocky canyon with wind and strange animal sounds. "Watch the cliff," Eli called as Cheeve slipped. He ran forward and grabbed Cheeve, pulling him to safety. The others watched as Eli moved fast, scanning the area. "There's shelter under that ledge," Eli pointed. They followed him. When a small robotic beast attacked, Eli picked up a branch and smacked it hard. It sparked and fell. After they reached the checkpoint, the instructor looked at the group. "Team Drex completed the test fastest," she said. "And Eli Grant, your instincts are impressive." Back in their suite, the others stared at him. "You didn't panic," Drex said. "We thought you might freeze," Loma added. "Most new students do," Eli shrugged. "I grew up camping in the Rockies. Bears, storms, you learn to keep your head." Cheeve made a clicking sound that sounded like awe. "Your planet made you this way." Eli smiled a little. He still didn't understand why they called Earth the Doom World. But maybe he was starting to see it from their eyes, and this was only the first day. The next day started early. A soft chime rang in the dorm suite, waking Eli and his 3 roommates. Chi buzzed lightly in his sleep. Drex stretched out his long limbs, and Loma floated off their bed silently. Eli rubbed his eyes and got dressed. Quickly. Today was their first class on interspecies culture and history. The classroom was shaped like a circle with no real front, and the teacher hovered slightly above the floor. She was a floating jellyfish-like being with lights blinking through her body. "Welcome, students," she said in a kind tone. "Today, we will discuss dangerous planets and their species." Eli sat quietly, his hands in his lap. He had a feeling his home would come up again. As the teacher began, she listed various high-risk planets. Zarnak, home to lava seas. Virelia, storms that last for years. Earth, Class 5 Doomworld. Eli felt the room go still. "Human Eli Grant," the teacher said, turning slightly. "Would you care to describe Earth for us?" Eli stood slowly. "Earth has forests, oceans, cities, animals, and lots of people. We have storms and earthquakes, sure, but it's also beautiful." A few students whispered. One raised her hand. "Is it?" "True, your oceans are filled with monsters." Eli frowned. "We have sharks and whales, but we also swim in those oceans." Another asked, "Do you really eat spicy food that burns your mouth?" Eli blinked. "Yeah, we call it flavor. It's not that bad." Laughter spread around the room, nervous and confused. The teacher nodded. "Earth is not just dangerous. It is also full of life and balance. But your species' ability to survive is impressive." After class, Eli walked alone for a bit. He stopped by a window that looked out into space. A few students passed him, but kept their distance. He heard one say, "That human survived bears." Bears, with just a stick. Later, they had combat basics. Each student had to train with a partner. Eli was paired with a thin, quick alien named Kello, who had bright orange eyes. "You may begin," said the instructor. Kello rushed at Eli with fast movements, too fast for most species. Eli ducked, rolled, and lightly tapped Kilo's shoulder. "Point for the human," the instructor said. Kelo looked shocked. "You learned that where?" "Judo," Eli said. "It's a martial art. We learn it for defense." By the end of class, Eli had won 3 matches. Not with strength, but with speed, timing, and using his opponent's movements. Others watched him now with more than fear. Some looked curious. Some looked amazed. That evening, Drex sat beside Eli in the suite. "I did research on your world," Drex said. "You have giant cats called lions. You have creatures that shoot poison." "Yeah," Eli said, "but we don't mess with them. We learn to live with them." Chief clicked. "I saw videos of humans climbing frozen mountains just for fun." "It's called mountaineering," Eli said. "Some do it for challenge." Loma floated closer. "Why? Why take such risk?" Eli smiled a little. "Because we like to push ourselves. We want to see what we can do." The others sat in silence, processing this. Soon after, a call went out across the academy. A drill had been triggered. All students were to report to the safety zones. Something had damaged a section of the station. Eli and his roommates moved fast. But along the way, they saw a young alien trapped behind a jammed door. Smoke filled the corridor. The child cried for help. Eli rushed forward. "Stay back," he told his friends. "I'll get her." He pushed at the door. It was stuck. He grabbed the broken pipe and used it as a lever. With a loud groan, the door gave way. Eli pulled the child out and carried her to safety. Security bots arrived and took over. The child was safe. Eli coughed from the smoke but smiled. Later, the academy sent a message to all students. "Today, one among you showed great courage." Human student Eli Grant risked himself to save another. After that, students began to talk to him more. Some asked questions. Some even sat beside him in class. Drex looked at him one night and said, "Maybe Earth is a DOOLD ... But maybe that's not a bad thing." Eli laughed. "Maybe it's just misunderstood." The fear hadn't vanished, but something new had started. Respect, curiosity, and maybe even friendship. And the term Doomworld was no longer just about danger. It was about survival, courage, and heart. The next few days at the academy felt different for Eli. Students no longer looked at him like he was some wild creature. Now, they nodded at him in the halls. Some even smiled. His actions during the drill had changed things. In one of their classes, a guest speaker arrived. He was a tall, four-eyed alien named Commander Tran. He wore medals and armor, and his voice was deep. "Today," he said, "we speak about adaptability. A true warrior must be ready for the unknown." He looked around the room. "I have studied many species. Few are like humans. Few adapt so fast." Eli felt eyes turn toward him again. "Eli Grant," the commander said, "what would you do if you were left on an unknown planet with no gear?" Eli thought. "For a moment. I would find water, then shelter, then food. I would stay hidden until I understood the land." The commander nodded. "Correct order. You think like a survivor." After class, Kello, the fast alien from combat training, caught up with Eli. "You want to join the challenge track?" Kello asked. "What's that?" "A special program, more training, more tests. Only top students are invited." Eli hesitated. "Do they even accept humans?" "They do now," Kello said with a grin. Eli spoke with his roommates about it. "You should try," Drex said. "It's hard, but you're already proving yourself," Loma added. "And it's not just about strength. It's about using your mind." Eli agreed. He signed up. The next week was tough. The challenge track pushed students to their limits. In one trial, they were dropped into a simulated forest and told to find their way out without help. Eli moved calmly through the tall trees. He noticed animal tracks, wind patterns, and small changes in the air, while others ran and got lost. Eli followed clues. He found the exit and helped another student, a quiet creature named Orcs, who had fallen into a pit. The instructors noticed. One said, "The human does not rush. He thinks. He plans." After the trial, Orcs came to Eli. "Thank you. My kind does not see well in shadow. You pulled me out." "No problem," Eli said. "We help each other. That's what humans do." Each challenge brought something new. One day they had to cross a freezing river. Eli showed others how to build a raft using branches and vines. "Where did you learn that?" a student asked. "Summer camp," Eli said with a smile. Word spread. More students started, asking him for advice. One night, as he sat in the common room, a group gathered around him. "Tell us about the ice storms," someone asked. "And the lightning that hits trees." Eli laughed. "You guys make Earth sound like a war zone, isn't it?" someone said. "You have volcanoes, floods, and wild animals." "Yeah," Eli replied. "But we also have music, books, beaches, and ice cream." Sheev, who was listening from the side, clicked. Earth is both danger and delight. One of the instructors, a small green alien named Vint, joined the circle. "I served in the outer colonies." "Vint?" I met humans during an outbreak. While others ran, the humans stayed. They fought to save lives. The students went quiet. They were not the strongest," Vint continued, "but they did not give up." Eli listened carefully. It felt strange hearing stories about his people from others, but it also felt good. The next day, a surprise announcement came. The academy would host a teamwork tournament. Teams from each dorm would compete. Eli and his roommates signed up. Their team name was simple: Unit 12. The first challenge was a maze. Walls moved, lights changed, and sounds confused the senses. Eli kept his group together. "Mark the turns," he said. "Use stones or scratches. Think before moving. They made it out first. The second was a logic puzzle. Loma led that part. The third was a strength trial. Drex and Cheeve carried the weight. In the final round, they faced a tall climbing wall with shifting handholds. Some teams froze in fear. Eli went first, calling out safe paths. Left foot, then reach high. One by one, his team climbed to the top. When they reached the finish, the crowd cheered. They didn't win first place, but they were named Most Improved Team. Back in their suite, they celebrated with strange snacks from different worlds. Eli looked around. He felt tired but happy. He had come far from his first day. Maybe Earth is a doom world, he said. But maybe that's why we never quit. His friends raised their drinks. To Doomworld. A new week began at the academy, and the energy felt different. The tournament had brought many students closer. There was more laughter in the halls, more teamwork in class. And for Eli, things had changed the most. He was no longer the strange Earth boy. Now, others listened when he spoke. One day, as he walked to class, a small group of younger students followed behind him. Is it true humans have tiny machines in their blood? One asked. No, Eli said with a laugh. That's just science. Fiction. Another student asked, did your people really walk on the moon with nothing but cloth suits? Yes, Eli said. That part's true. The students gasped in wonder. Eli smiled and waved goodbye as he entered the class. Inside, a new lesson was starting. The topic was natural threats and resilience. The teacher, a calm being with silver eyes, brought up several images of alien worlds. One was full of acid rains. Another had ground that shifted like water. Then came a picture of Earth. This, said the teacher, is the only known planet to produce a species that learned to live with so many dangers at once. Students leaned forward as the screen showed hurricanes, deep jungles, deserts, snowstorms, and more. And yet, the teacher continued, humans live almost everywhere on their planet. Why? A student asked. Because we have to, Eli said, raising his hand. We don't give up. We build. The teacher nodded. Exactly. After class, Eli met Drex in the training hall. They were working on group defense drills. A few teams had to block off paths and defend a base point. Eli's team was doing well. They used quick thinking and good planning. Hold the left, Eli shouted. Drex, take the high point. Cheeve, trap the path with shock dust. They defended their spot longer than any other group. When the drill ended, the instructor said, Unit 12, that was excellent teamwork. Later, while walking back, Eli and Drex talked. You think humans do all this because of fear or bravery? Drex asked. Eli thought for a moment. Maybe both. Fear keeps us alert. Bravery pushes us forward. We balance it. That night, the academy had a cultural night. Students could show music, food, stories, or games from their home worlds. Eli signed up for a small Earth table. He made simple snacks, popcorn, peanut butter sandwiches, and something like lemonade. Then he brought his tablet and played old rock music. Some students came out of curiosity, then more arrived. Soon the Earth table was full. This is crunchy and salty, one student said, tasting popcorn. I like it. What's that sound? Another asked. Guitar, Eli said. And drums. This band is from the 1970s. Your music has feeling, Loma said softly. Others began to share their cultures too. There was soft glowing fruit from Borrelia. Music played with light waves. And floating puzzles. It was a night of sharing. And for once, Earth didn't seem strange. It seemed part of something bigger. A few days later, an emergency signal interrupted a class. A ship had crash-landed on a moon near the academy. It was a cargo ship with 3 crew members. A rescue team was formed. Students from the challenge track could join as support. Eli was chosen. He met the team at the launch pad. They wore simple suits and packed tools. The trip to the moon was short. The crash site was bad. The ship had hit a rock slope and flipped. Smoke rose from the rear. "We need to find survivors quickly," the leader said. Eli and another student, Sava, moved through the wreckage. They found a blocked door. Inside, they heard weak banging. "They're in there!" Eli shouted. The door was sealed. Tools didn't work fast enough. Eli looked around. "We need to break the hinges. See that beam? We can use it as a lever." They lifted the beam together. It was heavy. Eli's arm shook, but he held on. With one strong push, the door gave way. 3 crew members lay inside, tired but alive. When they returned to the academy, the director met them. "You acted with calm and skill," she told Eli. "Earth breeds survivors. But more than that, it breeds helpers." That night, Eli sat with his team. No one said much. They just looked up at the stars. Chief spoke first. "I used to fear humans. I thought you were chaos." Loma nodded. "Now I think you are hope." Eli looked down at his hands, rough from the work. He didn't feel like a hero, but he felt proud. Earth had sent him here. And maybe that meant something. The others still called it the Doomworld. But now, they said it with respect. The stars outside the academy blinked like tiny candles. Inside, the students were busy preparing for the next big test. It was called the Unity Trial. Every few months, the academy ran a deep space mission for students. This time, they would explore an unknown station left behind by a vanished species. Eli and his team were chosen again. Unit 12 was now well known. Other students often came to them for advice or to hear stories about Earth. Eli didn't mind. He had grown used to the attention. Before the trial, the instructors gave a briefing. This station was found on the edge of a dead system. We do not know who built it or why it was abandoned. Your task is to explore, scan for data, and return safely. Each team received a small ship and basic supplies. They were told not to engage with anything dangerous. It was a test of observation, not battle. As Unit 12 flew out, Drex sat at the controls. Sheev handled scans. Loma monitored life signs. Eli checked gear and made a plan. "We move slow. We stay close. No splitting up," Eli said. "If we see anything strange, we leave." Everyone nodded. When they reached the station, it floated quietly. No lights, no sound. Just metal and shadow. The ship docked and the team entered. Through an airlock. Inside, the air was thin but safe. The halls were dark and everything was covered in dust. The walls had symbols that no one could read. Loma whispered, "It feels like a tomb." They moved carefully, mapping the layout. They found empty rooms, broken screens, and strange shapes. Then they found a chamber that was still powered. Screens blinked slowly. Lights glowed blue. Chief tapped the console. Still active. Old tech. Very old. Suddenly a sound echoed through the hall. A low hum, like a machine waking up. "Stay alert," Eli said. "No sudden moves." From the corner, something moved. A robot, shaped like a long spider, crawled forward. Its eyes blinked red. Drex stepped back. "It's scanning us." "Don't attack," Eli said. He stood still, hands out. "Let it see we're not a threat." The robot paused. Then it beeped and powered down. Chief sighed. It accepted our presence. For now, they continued deeper. In a center room, they found what looked like a map of the galaxy. A large one. It showed paths between stars, some that didn't exist anymore. "These people were explorers," Loma said. "Like us." They took scans, photos, and notes. Eli found a box filled with small crystals. "Data storage," Chief said. "We can study them." Later, after gathering what they needed, they turned back to leave. But the path was blocked. More robots stood in the hall now, silent and tall. Drex reached for a tool, but Eli raised his hand. "Let me try." He stepped forward slowly. The robots didn't move. Eli pointed to himself, then to the map room, then to the airlock. "We came to learn." "We are leaving," he said softly. The lead robot blinked. Then it stepped aside. The others followed. They understood. Chief whispered. They reached the ship and flew back in silence. At the academy, they shared what they found. The data was rich, full of history and unknown languages. The director praised them. "You showed calm. You showed respect. Many would have fought. You listened." That night, Eli sat with the others by the window. "What do you think happened to those builders?" he asked. "Maybe they went beyond," Loma said, "to a new galaxy. Or maybe their world ended," Drek said. Eli thought of Earth. All its dangers. All its beauty. "I think they lasted as long as they could," he said. "Like we always try to." Word of the mission spread fast. Students started calling Earth not just the Doomworld, but also the Seed World. A place that grew strong people. Eli heard it and smiled. Back in his room, he got a message from his family. A short video. His dog barked at the screen, and his little brother waved. He watched it twice, then looked outside. He was far from home. But he was not alone. The galaxy was big, dangerous, strange. But Eli Grant, from a world of storms and fire, was not afraid. Because he came from Earth. The Doomworld. The Seed World, home. A month had passed since the deep space mission. The data collected from the old station was still being studied, but Eli and his team had returned to regular classes. Life at the academy had settled, but something had shifted. Students from many species now came to Eli not just with questions, but with respect. One morning, the academy director made an announcement. A new training program will begin this week. It will test leadership, strategy, and survival. Teams will be placed on a wild planet for 3 days. Excitement buzzed through the halls. Eli and Unit 12 gathered in their room. "We can do this," Drek said, stretching his arms. 3 days is nothing." "Depends on the planet," Chief added. "They say it shifts terrain." Loma nodded. "We must stay ready. No room for mistakes." Eli looked at them all. "We'll use what we've learned. We trust each other. That's our strength." The next day, they boarded a small transport ship. Along with 2 other teams, they were dropped onto the surface of a planet called Varnies 3. It had green skies, tall trees with glowing bark, and air filled with floating pollen. "Stay alert," Eli said. "This place looks peaceful, but that's what makes it tricky." The mission was simple. Survive, map the area, and return to the pickup zone in 3 days. Each team was given basic supplies, a scanner, and an emergency beacon. The first day was calm. Unit 12 moved through the forest, making marks and saving routes. They found clean water and built a small shelter. At night, the ground shook. A distant roar echoed through the trees. "What was that?" Chief asked, his antennae twitching. "Let's not wait to find out," Eli said. "We move before sunrise." By morning, they saw large claw marks near where they had slept. That was close. Loma whispered. They moved faster the second day, but a storm rolled in. Strange winds twisted the trees, and lightning flashed in colors. Drex got hit by a falling branch. "Not serious, but painful. We rest here," Eli said. "Loma, patch him up. Chief, check the scanner." Chief shook his head. "Too much interference. We're off course." Eli stayed calm. He found high ground and looked for markers. He used small rocks to leave signs for other teams. His mind stayed focused, even when tired. That night, they saw a flare in the sky. "Someone used their emergency beacon," Loma said. "They need help." Eli didn't hesitate. "Let's go." The signal came from a rocky slope. Another team was trapped. One student had fallen into a pit and couldn't climb out. The others were too scared to try. Eli tied a rope and lowered himself down. The pit was dark and narrow, but he kept his breathing steady. "Hey," he said gently to the student, a young alien with golden skin. You're going to be okay." He helped wrap the rope, then gave the signal. The team above pulled them both up, got the rescued student, cried, and hugged Eli. "Thank you," she said. "I thought I would die down there." "You're safe now," Eli said. "Let's all move together." Unit 12 led both teams back to safer ground. They shared food and stories. That night, no one feared Earth. They only respected the human who had helped without question. On the third day, they reached the pickup point. The ship arrived and carried them back to the academy. There was applause when they stepped out. The director stood waiting. "You showed courage again," she said. "You rescued others, kept your team calm, and completed the task." Eli looked around at his friends. "It wasn't just me. We did it together." That evening, the Academy posted a message on the main board. Eli Grant of Earth, awarded high honor for leadership and bravery. Students clapped as he passed by. Some reached out to shake his hand. Others asked him to tell the story again. Back in his room, Eli sat alone for a moment. He looked at the small Earth flag on his wall. He remembered cold mornings in the mountains, storms that knocked out power, and long hikes through rain. All those days had prepared him for this. The galaxy called Earth a Doomworld, a place of danger. But Eli now knew the truth. Earth made people strong, not because it was cruel, but because it was honest. It taught patience, courage, and how to care for others. And maybe that's why others were starting to understand. Even in a galaxy full of stars, the spirit of Earth shone bright. The academy year was almost over. Students were packing up, finishing their final projects, and preparing to leave for their home planets. Eli stood at the window of his room, watching the ships come and go. He thought about his first day here. Back then, everyone had feared him. Now, many looked up to him. A soft knock came at the door. It was Loma. "The director wants to see you," they said. Eli followed Loma to the central tower. Inside, the director stood beside a hologram of the galaxy. She smiled as Eli entered. "You've come far, Eli," she said. "We have a proposal." Eli blinked. "Proposal?" "The Council of Allied Systems wishes to send someone to speak to new recruits from war-torn planets, to share the story of Earth, of resilience, of peace through strength." Eli was surprised. "You want me to do that?" "You lived it," she said. "You proved what Earth can be." Eli nodded slowly. "I would be honored." The next few days passed quickly. There was a celebration for all graduating students. Each team was called on stage and given their ranks and titles. When Unit 12 was called, the crowd cheered. "Unit 12, the voice announced, known for their courage, teamwork, and unity. Across species, Eli stood with his friends. Drex, Chief, and Loma smiled proudly. They had all grown stronger, not just in skill, but in heart. After the ceremony, students hugged, took pictures, and exchanged contact links. Many came to Eli. "You changed how we see humans," one said. "You showed that bravery isn't about being the biggest," said another. "I want to visit Earth one day," someone added. Eli laughed. "Just bring a raincoat." Later, Eli sat with his team for one last night together. "Remember when we thought humans were just walking disasters?" Chief said. "Now I think you're all made of stone and fire," Drex added. Loma looked at Eli. "No, he is made of hope." Eli smiled. "I was just being myself." "Exactly," Loma said. Next morning, Eli boarded a new transport. It would take him to different worlds, where he would speak to students, soldiers, and leaders. As he sat in his seat, he looked out the window again. A small reflection showed his Earth flag on his bag. He touched it gently. The ship flew through space, smooth and fast. On the first planet, he spoke to a group of young recruits who had never known peace. He told them about forests, dogs, thunderstorms, and campfires. "Earth is hard," he said, "but it teaches you to love life more. Every moment matters." They listened closely. On the next world, he shared stories about teamwork and helping others. about how being strong doesn't mean being cruel. It means protecting those who can't fight. He showed pictures of his team, his family, and even a bear that once stole his food during a hike. People laughed. Some cried. Many stood and clapped. He traveled from world to world. And with each stop, the name Doomworld changed in meaning. No longer a word of fear. Now it was a name of pride. One day, while walking through a market on a desert moon, Ely heard a small alien child shout, "Look! It's the human from Doomworld!" Eli turned and smiled. "That's me." The child ran up and gave him a small flower made of sand crystal. "For you," the child said, "because you helped my brother." Eli took the gift. His heart warmed as weeks turned into months. Eli became a symbol, not of war, but of what comes after. Healing, understanding, growth. One night, he sent a message home. A short video of himself standing under a glowing sky. "Hey," he said, "I miss you all. I'm doing okay. Earth is still with me, no matter how far I go. And I'm telling the galaxy that our world is more than danger. It's full of life, love, and courage, just like its people." Back at the academy, a new group of students had arrived. Some asked about Earth. Others asked about the human who changed everything. The instructor smiled. "Yes," one said. "He was from Earth, from the Doomworld. And he taught us all something important." They didn't whisper it with fear anymore. Now they said it with wonder. With pride. And with hope.